Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I am Manisha and this is your Budget Empire. Welcome back for another video. If you are new here, consider like, follow, and subscribing to the channel. We are a channel that is based off financing, budget, and financial media. If you are interested in those type of topics, we would love to have you. All right, let's get into the video. So we're going to talk about marriage and how a lot of people actually don't prepare for it properly and it ends up ruining their finances. If you know a little something something about marriage, money, finances is the single most reason why people end up getting divorces. So it's important to talk about it, preferably before you get married. One of the things that I learned from my first marriage, so I'm married now to my second husband, but I was married before, we did not align financially. No shade to him at all, but we did not align financially. I am a saver. I plan things. I like to budget for things, and he was a spender. And so purchases just didn't make sense, wanted to wear the latest fashion. And it's one of those habits that a lot of people have that actually keeps them down. You want to wear the latest designer, you want to drive the big fancy car. You're flexing on who? Because you are wearing your wealth while most people can't see your wealth. And that's what you want to be. Now, no one's saying that you can't treat yourself. Okay, that's a thing of its own, but in moderation. So you want to make sure the person that you are with is lined with you not only in the other ways, they love you, they care about you, your well-being, that kind of stuff, but you want to make sure on the financial side, they have their ducks in a row. They understand what they owe, where their debts lie. Maybe they have some student loans. Maybe they have a house that they have before, or they have credit card debt. Whatever it is, y'all need to talk about it, and preferably before you say I do. Because once you say I do, their debt is yours, and yours is theirs, and you guys are a unit. So you got to make sure you set yourself up for the best financial future. And in order to do that, you have to have the difficult conversation. Most people don't like to talk about finances, and that's how they end up in the problems that they are in. So you got to talk about it. Talk about it. Have that hard conversation because the other conversation will be a lot harder. Trust me. One of the things we're going to talk about is their financial habits. Like I was explaining before, their financial habits become your reality. And that goes across both sexes. If you are a female and you are, if you're like me, you're a planner, you like to budget things out, but your spouse is not, problems. If you are that female that is the spender and you like to go on shopping sprees and all that, problem. Because at the end of the day, you guys are a unit and you need to function as such. Now, if you have the disposable income, this conversation is not for you. You can spend your money, do what you like with the money that you earn. But if you guys are depending on each other for financial support to make, your lives go round, it's a conversation you need to have. Me and my husband, we own a business together, as well as I'm a registered nurse and he primarily does the business. But we discuss our finances. If it's anything over $200, I need to know. He needs to know. Hey, baby, I just bought this. I just bought that. I'm planning on buying this. What does the budget look like for the month? And that is a conversation we have together. I have a father that lives in Jamaica. Sometimes emergencies happen. We help out sometimes. That's a conversation we have together. I understand he is my father and I need to, bear some of the responsibilities for that. But when he said I do, he took me and whatever family came along with it. And that's good, bad, or the ugly. Debt can become a burden, not only financially, but physically. The burnout that you'll face when you have to pick up all these extra shifts to pay those bills, the resentment that you'll have towards your significant other because they're spending all the money that you're working so hard to get to save. All of those things are important. You guys have to have a goal, a together goal. Personal goals are okay. That's a video for another day. So you want to make sure that you guys have joint goals. You have those once a month sit down meetings. Maybe it's every 2 weeks. Whenever you get paid, make sure you have that conversation. We need to budget this for a car and that for the mortgage. And hey, little Johnny's having a birthday next month. What are we looking like? What is the expenses going to be? A lot of people swipe those credit cards willy nilly, and that's how they end up in those positions. So talk about them. And if the conversation is going left, maybe you need to go left as well because finances is a very very big part of a conversation. Credit scores can affect shared goals. So you want to know what baseline that your spouse's credit is and what your credit is. That is important because if you guys are trying to buy a house together, they're going to look at both of that. If you need both your incomes to qualify for that loan, they're going to look at both of your credit scores. You have to make sure those credit scores are top tier and you have to tackle them together. It is very, very important. You know what the other person's credit look like. Credit Karma is free. Credit Karma is free. Sign up for it. Have a ballpark idea. It is not guaranteed. It's not to the T. If Credit Karma says your credit score is 720, 730, I usually plus or minus 15 points. It kind of depends. It changes month to month, but you want to have a blanket idea. I know my credit score is between 700 and 730. That is enough ballpark to get an estimate. You don't need to pull your credit to get an estimate. You have to know a ballpark. That way, when you go for financing, you can say, hey, my credit score is 740, 750. What does that look like? My credit score is 620. What does that look like? Can I get approved for it? Maybe you're in the 680s. That's okay, but you need to have a ballpark idea because one thing about fixing your finances, you have to know where you start. If you don't know where you start, you don't know where you're going. So you have to look into that to make sure you understand where you're starting from and where your end goal wants to be. And then work towards it every month, every year. It may take you a little bit to get there, but if you chip away at it, trust me, the tree comes down. It always does. We all have bills. Some people come with more, some people come with more debt, some people come with more baggage. Maybe you have a couple kids involved. Maybe this is a blended family. Whatever it is, y'all need to talk about your finances. Because financial compatibility will determine how successful your marriage is. If you never have these conversations, now your house is up for foreclosure. Now your car is repossessed. All of those things that maybe could have been preventable, but you had a lot of pride and didn't want to open your mouth. And that is one of the challenges that I even faced in my marriage when we first started. But now we talk about it. There's no issue. I need to swipe this card. I need to do this. I need to pay for that. How are we looking for the month? Can we afford it? That's conversations we have all the time. We have a business. And this business was financed with some credit cards, but we didn't have a business loan. We had to figure out how we're going to make those payments. Right now, we're having to cut back on a couple things because it's slow season. You have to manage that budget and make adjustments. So you need to have someone, whoever that person is in your relationship, play on each other's strengths. If one person is great at budgeting and you suck at it, then you don't need to be the one making the budgets. If one person is excellent at figuring out the cards and the interest rates and the loans and the this and the that, have that person manage it. Have them teach you how to do it because you also need to be a proficient adult in that area too. So if that's your, if you're struggling in that area, ask your spouse that's maybe excelling a little bit more than you. Learn things together. This is the age of information. Everything is on YouTube. Everything. And now you found me. So, tune into the videos, understand what's going on in your financial realm because that is important, especially in the day and age we are right now. Everything's a little everything's a little all over the place. Cost of living, how things are going right now, the uncertainty, people are losing their jobs, student loans are hitting people's credit like rocks, dropping credit score. I saw a video the other day, girl had a 800 credit score. Student loans hit her credit, dropped it 200 points. Now she's at 6. And I know how hard and devastating it is for something to come in and slap your credit like that because you having an 800 is not easy. You have worked hard to get there, but you also neglected one of your biggest debts, which is your student loans. Make those minimum payments. Don't listen to what people say about debt forgiveness. You signed on the dollar line. They don't care about it, and they don't care about you. You have to make sure you secure your financial future. If that means you have to make an income based payment, then do so. But do whatever you need for yourself and your family, your four walls. Everybody else got to worry about their own four walls. This is about the early stage of marriage, but you need to figure out their upbringing. So, your upbringing will determine how you are with your money management skills. If you were raised in a higher class family who, you know, 4 vacations a year, house is paid for, dad was the only one working, mom's staying home with the kids, you have a different financial outlook than someone who grew up with a single mother and didn't have a lot growing up. I was that person, not the single mother situation, I guess, in some type of way, but I grew up in Jamaica. My family didn't have very much, and when you're in those situations, you don't know what you don't have until you come out into America, okay? And then it's just this big consumer economy. You need to have this, you need to have this. You're flexing on this one, you're flexing on that one. This one's trying to do better than that one. It's all hype. It took me a long time to figure out that it's all hype. So hopefully you learn a little bit from my experience. Don't fall for it. Do what you can when you can. Emergencies will happen. Situations will suck because life is out here lifing, okay? But have an idea. Your upbringing of your person that you're with will determine how they view money. You need to figure that out early on and before you say I do, because it come back and get you later on. You don't want to deal with that as your finances are crumbling. Maybe you guys are losing the house. 1 or 2 cars get repossessed. Now your whole financial future is upside down. You can't get a loan. You can't get an apartment. You can't get a mortgage. You can't rent anything. You can't get a credit card. Life is turmoil. You lost your job. Now what? It's always something that you guys have to plan for, and it's something that I plan for in my own life. Now, nothing always goes to plan, okay? The thing you can do is tell our Father that you have a plan, and the Lord be like, "Oh, you got a plan." Let's see about that. So you can't. There's some things you can't plan for, but an idea is better than none. If you do this thing called marriage the right way, you will actually build wealth together. You can pool your resources. Let's say you're both single individuals that was productive in society. You had your own place, your own car, you got a good job. You were taking those 3 or 4 vacations a year. You now get with boy B, and Mr. Man had got it all together. He got a house, he got a car, no kids, all the things. Y'all are together. Now you are a two income household. What is the biggest expense that we all pay? Rent or mortgage. You only have to pay one. That money can be invested into something else. You can use it to start a business, a side hustle. You can use that money for just a retirement savings and a high yield savings account. You can go so far because you're just now having to share one major roofing expense, some type of place for you to live, and you guys can work it out later on. A lot of people do this dual income, no kids thing. Absolutely wrong. You're allowed to have some fun because we all work really hard, but be mindful. Most of the time, if you play now, you're paying later. And if you pay now, hopefully you don't have to pay as much later and you're able to enjoy life a little bit. Understand that financial decisions affects your now and your later. So you remember that in the beginning when we were talking about, that 20-year-old who partied, went everywhere, they had all the money, they were eating all the things, eating out, doing well. Now that same person is in that stage in life where they want kids, they want a house, they want a car, but they're strangled by $50,000 of stupid mistakes and dumb decisions. So you don't want to end up there. You want to plan accordingly to get to where you need to go. That financial planning affects your kids. You can't pay that college tuition like you wanted to. You can't contribute to their future. Maybe you wanted to give them a break when they had their first child. You're not able to do those things because you're not financially equipped for those things. That stuff is not taught in school. And honestly, sometimes your parents don't even know to teach you. Last and final, most important, you are legally tied. This is for better or for worse. Whatever debt that you guys accumulate in the marriage, it'll follow you when it's over. Whether it's going to be a judge, whether it's something that you guys mutually agree to, somebody get the car, somebody get this, somebody get that, two people get, split the credit cards, the house has to sell, the debt gets, you know, restructured. A lot of what's happening right now is people who bought homes in 2020, 2021 at those all-time high prices now are having to sell their homes, and they're having to sell it for less than they bought it for. You're upside down in this loan. You're upside down in this loan because you wasn't compatible with the person that you were with financially. You had a saver and a spender. and that spender was a spender. They were spending everything. And so now you're in a situation where you are the saver and you're looking like we should have had enough money, but we don't. And so as a result of poor money management, you have to sell this house. And you have to sell it as a loss because you bought when interest rates were low, there was free money going around. People were buying everything and everything, and everyone usually always buy at the tip top of their budget. When you're getting a loan, that loan is using your gross income. Nobody takes home their gross, everybody has to pay taxes. So when you do your budgets on your take home income. That is the income that's important, because you won't see that gross amount. That gross amount will never hit your bank account, but that is the amount that everybody uses for loans and credit cards and to figure out how much to lend you. It's to keep you in debt. So you got to figure out what is your finances before you even walk in. What does that comfortable payment look like? And be mindful. Keep an eye out, because you also, the payment is important. Obviously, we have to make the payment month to month. But also, what's important is the terms of the loan. The terms of the loan is very important. How long it is, what the interest rate is, how we're going to get from point A to point B. Can we afford it in the long run? A mortgage is 30 years. What happens if one of you lose your job in that time? What if one of your kids get sick? What happens then? You're borrowed to your teeth for a mortgage and you can't afford anything else in life. So be mindful on the financial decisions you make, because you guys are tied together. Whatever decisions are made during that marriage, for better or for worse, will affect both of you. Do your homework, do your research, know who you're marrying. Love is important. I was very grateful to find love, and you got to be able to take care of you and your financial future. All right, guys, so that is all I have for this video. One of the biggest things is marriage is great. I love it here. You have a partner, you have people to share stories with, up late night, you have that everything, you have your best friend all in one. All that's important, but on the other side of that is money. So you got to make sure that that person also aligns with you financially. Everything will work out, it will be great. Guys, thank you for tuning in for this video. I truly appreciate your support as always. If you enjoyed this video, please consider giving me a like, comment, and subscribe. It is definitely greatly appreciated. Drop a comment in the comment section. I will reply to as many of them as I can, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks.